gosh, I am just so excited to be able to have this opportunity to talk to Jean Turner. Oh my gosh, Jean is someone who I had an awesome opportunity to meet back in Jacksonville, Florida, when we both attended the One Woman Summit. And I had, for some reason, an immediate connection with Jean. I was drawn to her persona, her spirit. I don't know what it was, but I just zoned in and I connected with her. And I heard her speak at that particular summit, and she spoke on wellness. And as a matter of fact, I was so moved by her talk, I had to rethink how I was exercising and eating and really living my life. And so she has been such an inspiration to me. And I'm just thrilled to have this moment to chat with her and kind of get her story and her dreams and all of that on my Women Who Dare to Dream spotlight. So, Jean, welcome, welcome, and welcome. I'm so excited.
Well, I thank you for having me. As always, I thank God for any opportunity that I have the chance to share, share of his goodness, share,
Yes.
what he's done for me, and
Ah,
it's just an awesome opportunity. So I thank you, and you looking gorgeous. I'm feeling the hair, the look
whew.
is beautiful. Your skin is just glowy and
Oh,
you
thank you.
know,
Thank you. And you know what? Speaking of skin and all that, I said I need to hook up with Jean because listen, my diet has been off whack, out of whack, off track, everything. And I gotta do something from within. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna talk to my sister so she can kind of help me
got to
along so
be.
I can really be as radiant as you are,
Oh, thank
queen, warrior, woman.
you.
So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about
Let's talk. Let's
some of the things
dialogue.
you're doing. So listen, okay, first of all, you were what? A nurse corps officer.
Yes, Army Nurse Corps officer. Actually,
Okay.
my retirement date, official retirement date, is next month on the 25th.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh.
I've served a total of 25 years
Oh
total.
wow. Congrats.
So
Congrats. And
thank
thank you
you.
for your
Thank
service.
you. So I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to this next chapter that God has for me. Everything
Woo.
for a reason.
Ah.
And
So
I'm
let's
trying not
talk
to get
about
ahead of
it.
I'm trying not to get ahead of you
I
now.
know, but listen, but you're chomping at the bit. Okay, hold tight. Because not only are you, this nurse person who does all this stuff, but certified health coach,
Hmm.
marathoner,
Hmm.
empowerer. You have such an amazing story. I mentioned your persona and your spirit, but I know that comes from a deep, deep, deep place. And I know that, you are a survivor of so much. So I'm going to allow you to elaborate on that just a moment.
Okay.
And you let us know what you want us to know as women.
Okay. And so, I'm gonna get a short version.
Give it a
Okay.
short version.
I'm gonna get a short version. So, here I was always Miss Independent, had my own career, had my Army career going on, marathoner, half marathoner, exercise, always in the gym,
Yes.
kickboxing, yoga, do
Come
whatever.
on now.
But, but I thought for years that I could outrun a bad diet. Now,
Ooh.
granted, my diet wasn't that bad. I mean, I cut out red meat and pork back in 1999 after my husband's cholesterol scare, but I still thought I could just eat whatever because I thought, I could outrun a bad diet. And so, well, here comes 2017. And I started feeling some kind of way, which was unusual because the runner in me, I shouldn't be getting short of breath running up a flight of stairs at work. And so I remember one day my chest was hurting and I couldn't breathe. And I went to the emergency room and they found on the x ray, now listen closely, they found a spot on my lung. And so they's like, well, okay, we're going to send you out. And when they say send you out, that means they send you from a military treatment facility out to the civilian sector,
Mm-hmm.
to, evaluate. And so they sent me out. They sent me to a doctor here in Atlanta, oncologist, did the PET scan. They saw the same spot, which originally they saw on the x-ray down where I was
Mm.
stationed at. And but she said, it's too small. It's so small, you couldn't even hardly notice it if you wasn't watching and really looking hard. And
Mm.
she was like, well, we're just going to monitor you, monitor you, monitor you. Well, she monitored me from September 2017 to May of 2018. And then she noticed it was starting to grow.
Oh,
And
wow.
so from there, I went to biopsy. From there to July 4th, 2018, being told it was malignant. And 2 weeks later, I was in surgery to remove the tumor. And from there, a month after that, in August 2018, I started chemotherapy, which, by the way, was the most intense chemotherapy known ever, known to my oncologist and even at the Mayo Clinic. And so from there, 9 months of chemo from August 2018 to May of 2019, finished that. But then post chemo, and this is even after July 4th here in Atlanta, is the Peachtree Road Race, which is the
Mm-hmm.
largest 10K race in the world, right?
Yes.
I even participated in that July 2019. And after that, I started having some symptoms. I was like, what is this with the swelling and this and that? And August 7th, 2019, I went to cardiac arrest. Yeah, I went to the hospital. I told my husband something ain't right. I ain't feeling good. I've got to go to the hospital. And thank God I did,
Mm.
because after waiting in the emergency room for several hours, they finally called me back. And that's all I remember. Next thing I know, I was waking up and the nurse was telling me, did I know, how they ask you, do you know what day it is? You know your
Right.
name, you know where you are. And I told her I said, well, I came in the emergency room August 7th, Wednesday. So it's the 8th, right? It's the 8th. She's like, nah, it's the 19th, Miss Turner. I was like, whoa, the 19th. And so I knew something had happened because being a nurse for 33 years, I was just like, at the time, 32 years, I was like, I'm seeing all these monitors. I'm
Mm.
hearing all these bells and whistles. And at the end of my bed was this big, huge, gigantic machine. And I'm seeing all these tubes going, tubes this thick going in me up under the covers. I was just like, oh,
Yes.
something happened. And so, yeah, come to
Oh,
find out, I went into cardiac respiratory arrest, coded. They revived me. Did told my husband and my family I had a 1% chance to survive within the next 24 hours. And then once I survived that, they told my husband she has a 1% chance of surviving the medevac, because they medevaced me from the county I lived in to down to Midtown Atlanta.
1%
God.
chance.
But God. Yeah, dig that. So the doctors don't have the last say. Praise God that they don't, right?
Amen to that. Oh
Just
my
saying.
gosh.
So that's it in a nutshell. That's my
Wow.
testimony.
That
That's it in a
is
nutshell.
that is just so remarkable. It really is, and it fills me with just hope. It fills me with awe, you know, just of what God can do.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this: what impact has that had on your life, as far as your dreams, your aspirations, etc.?
Well, first of all, let me start out by saying this. My dreams and aspirations uh, are not the same as pre
I got you.
all of that.
Very okay.
I thought I was going to stay in the Army for another 3, 4 years, make full bird colonel, because my next rank was the full bird with the eagle on my chest.
I can
Yeah.
see you doing that. Yes, yes.
But that's not what God had planned.
Mm,
And so
mm,
actually, um, I also had my business, before I met you back in January 2018. I started my nurse coaching, health coaching business, and I called it Fit Foxy 50 and Beyond. And there's a story behind that. But anyway, and so, started my business, tried to build my brand, and then all that happens where I was unable to
Mhm.
because I didn't have the energy. So I ended up terminating that business.
Mm.
And so now my focus is, it's not even the same focus as it was. Then it was all about teaching others and educating others and having seminars and everything on preventive measures,
Mhm.
right? Preventing illness, preventing disease. But now as I rebrand and rebuild, it's about, that's still there too, because you want to practice prevention. However, the focus is now on teaching and inspiring, encouraging and educating others who have chronic illness
Mm.
and disease.
Okay.
Practicing self-care through chronic illness and disease,
Mm.
okay?
Mhm.
Doing what we need to do in order to stay healthy and well, and those of us who've been healed to maintain our healing. So it's more than just business right now. I'm rebuilding. I became a licensed minister in March, and so it's ministry as
Mm.
well. And so my message has changed dramatically to where I now, my niche is more or less working with, self-care during cancer treatments and with cancer conquerors. I don't call myself a survivor, I call myself a conqueror, because we are more than conquerors, right? And
Yes,
God came that we would have life and have it more abundantly. So we were
exactly.
created to thrive and not just survive.
Mhm.
So I don't use the word survivor, I use conquerors.
All right, I
So
love it.
yes, and to help those dealing with any form of heart disease and illness of the cardiovascular system. And then I still have my Fit Foxy 50 and Beyond, but instead of that being the name of my business, it's now my signature program for those of us 50 years young and beyond.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say if I'm able to partake in that. I am the fit and foxy, but I won't say the 50. I'll let people try to figure that out. But no, 50 is a good thing. So I really, oh gosh, I can appreciate how you have defined your niche, how you know what that is, and how through your experience, God has shifted the vision, the plans, what you thought you were going to do, and now you're able to directly help, those specifically who have, fought of
Yes.
cancer or
Yes.
chronic diseases and that type of thing. And I mean, what a ministry that is in and of itself. Um,
Yeah.
wow, I mean that's pretty spectacular. I
Yeah.
know so many people who fit in those categories and
Right.
definitely, partake of what you're doing. So how are you reaching out to those who you serve?
So right now, and I will admit that is a challenge right now. Now, let me just say this, I don't just deal with, because I believe we're body, mind, and spirit beings.
Yes.
So in saying that, I minister to the physical man,
Mm,
emotions, our psychological being, as well as our spirit
yes.
being.
Yes.
And so right now, I was, again, I know it's God, because I wasn't going in this direction either. So, number one, I have been blessed to host a radio show and a podcast that's called Health Chat with Coach Jean. Comes on every Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Nice.
And so I minister through that venue, reach
Mm,
out through that venue
mm,
on various topics dealing with health, wellness, wholeness, and healing. And,
good.
a lot of, well, I probably am not as consistent as I should be with social media. And I know that's the way for a lot of people to go, because who is not on social media? I'm
Mhm.
not as consistent as I should be, but hopefully that will change. And then just, through interviews like this interview and others, I'm able to get my message out and what I do,
Yes,
outside of the four walls of the building, the church building.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I know now, we're all dealing with the challenges of the pandemic and, people's stress levels are through the roof.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's putting it mildly for the most part.
Right.
So, how can we maintain the word you use is self care and wellness, right? Those two
Hmm.
words. How can we, even those who aren't dealing with a chronic, quote unquote,
Right.
illness, but just in life today, Jean, what do you suggest or recommend that we do?
Okay.
Maybe one or two points to help us maintain and to help us still thrive even during these challenging times.
Right. Well, number one, you know, I am a firm believer that health, true health, like true beauty, begins from the inside out.
Mm,
Okay. So, number one, we have to nourish our body, not just with physical nourishment, right?
mm,
Fruits, vegetables, try to eat real foods, drink plenty of water, but we also got to nourish our spirit, man. Okay. It's okay to turn off the TV sometimes, to shut out social media, to shut off the news, because I think those entities, in and of themselves, create additional stress. They rob us of our peace and joy because let's face it, so much is going on in the world right
oh,
now. We
yes,
cannot continuously feed ourselves that all day, every
that's
day.
true.
So you want to take care of your
Hmm.
mental being, your emotional being, and your spiritual being. I would start with that right there. I take hiatuses from TV and social media. I just came off of a week-long hiatus from social media
Mm-mm.
because you got to cut some of that stuff out because it'll rob you of your peace and your joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And we cannot be successful. Anything that robs us of our peace, robs us of our joy, robs us of our health, it affects our success. It affects everything that we do or set out to do.
Mm. That is so good. And I hear you on that. And I'm one of those who also, um, well, I am on social media and it's by force, not by choice. What I mean by that is
Got you. Oh, I
it's
got you.
necessary for my business, right?
Right.
However, I do tune that out because I need to feed myself, especially with the work that I'm doing, as far as empowering and being the giver of hope that I am. I need to feed myself with positive information
Right.
and that kind of thing. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Turning off the television, don't feed all of that negativity within you because it can indeed manifest and
It,
create unnecessary stress. You agree?
right.
You're nodding on that.
Right. And it does. It does. We have to protect our peace at all costs. I'm a firm believer of that. We
Yes, I
must protect our peace of mind at all costs.
oh
Because stress in and of itself creates disease and sickness.
yes it does. It does. And I don't think people realize the extent that it does, right? Speaking of that, let me ask you because one thing that I
Ooh.
do to alleviate my stress factors, right, is that I have made it a point to jog like a couple of miles a day, right in the morning to get my day started. And I know you ran a marathon, Jean, and all of that. How important, we talked about, stress affecting your body and creating illness. How important is it to exercise, to get a regimen of exercise in your life?
Yes. Well, number one, we know that exercise is like medicine. Okay. Those feel good endorphins, which there is such a thing as feel good endorphins, trust and believe, they take effect to where you just begin to feel good. I don't care what you were stressed out about. I don't care what was going on. A good run or even a good walk, just exercise in general, over at least for 30 minutes, at least at a minimum of 30 minutes, 5 times a week, for a total of 150 minutes a week, is known to help you to boost. It boosts them feel good endorphins. And that in and of itself puts you in a better mood. It helps gives you more clarity, helps you to think clearly, and it relieves the stress. Also, exercise, when we think of the cardiovascular system, our heart, right?
Yeah.
There's such a thing called nitric oxide, I believe it is, that the more we exercise, the more it increases. Is nitric oxide, excuse me. The more we exercise, the more it increases, right? Within us. It's like a pharmacy. It's like we have our own pharmacy within us. And that helps with heart health. I mean, a lot of people are taking these pills. No, you don't have to take the nitric oxide pills. No, because your body creates it. The more you exercise, the more it creates it for cardiovascular health. So that's, we have an internal pharmacy just with that alone that many people are not aware of.
I like that. I was writing that down as you mentioned it because
Yeah, it's
that's good stuff.
yeah,
That is good stuff. A lot of times we reach out for the external, but we have the power within our bodies, naturally heal themselves
hmm
and do what it needs to do to
right,
make us
right,
make us whole.
right.
So on your journey and your excuse me, your life has evolved, obviously. What is one thing that has surprised you the most, do you think? What is because I'm kind of reinventing, I'm doing some things differently and all of that. And I could tell you from experience, one thing that really surprised me is, for one, how resilient I really am. Two, how creative I am, because sometimes we have giftings we don't even realize, when we're going through transitions and all of that. So I was like, Rhonda, okay, God has really gifted you in so many ways, and now
Yeah.
you're able to do all of these things. So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
Right,
So on your
right.
journey in transforming your life and whatnot, what surprised you along the way, or what do you remember the most? Let's put it that way as well.
What surprised me the most was number one. It's funny you should say resilient because I always consider myself a very resilient person.
Yeah.
Especially being a New Yorker, and then I was in the army, so you can tell
Oh,
me I was not hua hua, right?
oh, now right.
But but I must say I never knew how resilient I was until I went through
Mm,
that health challenge.
mm,
I had no idea because I'm not going to say that there was not times that I didn't break down and cry. There's a
mm,
lot of emotional things that come into play
sure.
when you're going through a health challenge like that. But I must say, I didn't know how resilient I was. I thought I was, but I had no clue
Ah.
until I was going through that. I also, I've always been a very compassionate person,
Mm-hmm.
but I have gained a greater level of compassion for others who are not well. I mean, I've been a nurse now for 33 years. I love nursing. I love taking care of people and always been compassionate, but it has magnified like 100-fold. Like you know, you suffer and go through something like that. It's
Mm,
no, I mean, you just see it from a different perspective. It's one thing to be the caregiver,
yeah.
and then all of a sudden you on the receiving end of care.
Ah. Oh, that's
That's a whole nother different revelation.
wow.
And so,
Wow.
yeah. And
Mm.
I don't let things, don't sweat the small stuff. And back in the day, it used to be, I think, a secret or Arid roll-on commercial, some type of Duro commercial. Used to say, "Never let them see you sweat."
Yeah.
I don't. You know what? I don't let things get to me. I can't afford to because I'm gonna be honest with you. When I told you when they first found a spot on my lung that was so small they couldn't biopsy it, you can hardly even see it. I believe the months between September of 2017 and May 2018, when it began to grow, that was because I was up under a lot of stress at work. I had 5 or 6 different missions going on at the same time that either myself or my department was in charge of, and the increased stress with that. Like I really think it was the stress that caused that tumor to grow. I really do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
stress is no good.
So
Stress is no
you
good.
don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm-mm.
That is
Mm-mm.
that's a tough lesson, for so many of us. And
Mm-mm.
even we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day, what does this matter in my life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. I'm going to take
Yeah.
that away with me.
Yeah.
So for women out there who have a dream, Jean, who, know there's something that they should be doing, right?
Mhm.
You have just evolved and you're doing some beautiful work. And I thank God for you and for what you're doing. Honestly, woman to woman, heart to heart, I really do. But for those who know they are called to do more or they have a vision for themselves, what would you say to them to encourage them to follow, pursue that thing?
I would say number one, just really hone in and get in touch with the creator.
Mm,
Nothing, I heard someone say earlier today, and I've heard this throughout Christendom, nothing is wasted. So whatever it is that you have experienced, you've gone through, that in itself, to me, is a catalyst for what you are called to do. Because our greatest work or ministry or whatever you want to call it comes from that which we have gone through, that we got firsthand experience in. And so just
ah,
follow the creator, see what it is that he is calling you to do, what he's laid on your heart to do, and then go for it. And yes, it's going to be scary. Like me, I'm sitting here now about to sign agreement for some office space, and I'm just like, Lord, I'm just going to trust you and step into it because
yeah.
I believe this is the way you're calling me to go forth.
Mm,
But yeah, you have to the visions and the dreams and desires the creator places in our hearts, and so we just have to have the faith and be like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I mean, really, what have you got to lose?
I
And I
love
mean, that's my perspective now. I have a whole different perspective. What have I got to lose? I mean, he's brought me back from death's door. What?
on.
I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. So you've gone through all of that. So you know firsthand, you have this relationship, you have this walk, you know what he's delivered you through and from. But for someone who doesn't know him like that, how do
Hmm.
they still tap into that? Or what is it that you would encourage them to do?
Just go for it.
Just go for it.
Just go for it.
All right. All right.
Go for it. Take baby steps if you have to, but take a step.
I
Just take
love
a
that.
step.
I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
Well, I tell you what, it has been such a delight to talk to you, to share with you, to hear your heart, to hear what God has done and is still doing in your life. And I am one in agreement with you for the blessings that He has in store. And it is my prayer and desire that everything you touch is just magnified, and of course, it gives Him the glory. And
Amen.
it's just a delight as always. So, as we close,
Yes.
any final comments or thoughts for those who are watching?
Well, I first of all, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to share.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that God allowed us to connect, and no, I just just know that if it's been placed in your heart to do,
Mm,
it's your passion, the passion you were given, you know.
yeah.
Just seek the creator and just take one step. Nothing happens overnight. It's a series of steps that we have to take, right? But
Yes.
step out there, step out with a positive attitude, step out believing, and you shall
Mm,
receive it. You shall
boy.
receive it.
I firmly believe that. And so, if someone wants to get in touch with you regarding, your coaching or speaking or wellness, how do they do that? What is the best way?
The best way is just shoot me an email at spirit of a warrior dot life, life at gmail.com, or you can go to my website www.spiritofawarrior.life. Yes,
Beautiful.
ma'am.
And I love dot life because, oh my gosh, you epitomize life. It just resonates out of you. So
Okay.
those are the ways that they can reach you, and I'm sure they'll be reaching out to you. And of course, I'm going to definitely let other people know about this amazing, work that you're doing. And I just wish you Godspeed in everything that you do. And thank you again for sharing and for encouraging and being that inspiration and being the beautiful life that you are.